Greetings, greetings, greetings to all my people out there in virtual reality, and welcome to your next episode of Oba Omi Says. Thank you so much for coming to spend time with me. Just starting off, I would like to say like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell for post notifications so you can stay updated with everything going on over here at Oba Omi Says. Secondly, I would like to say we're getting to the end of the first quarter, so this is an ideal time to schedule your energetic Mary D. Lagoon reading for the year to figure out the energy around you for each quarter. Now is the best time. Of course, I do readings other times of the years, but this is the optimal time for you to get a good reading to ensure that your year goes in a positive direction, and so you can be aware of all the energies around you for the year. Thirdly, I would like to go ahead and say, do not forget about Station Head. I will be starting my Station Head channel, Oba Omi Says on Station Head, so keep that in mind. I'm looking to start next week. If not next week, it will be the week after that, so keep all that in mind. Go over to Station Head and save me so we all can participate, so we all can do everything that we can to basically be able to connect on Station Head and here on the podcast. And last but not least, remember that all the chapters for this video are in the description. So if you do not have time to watch the whole podcast all the way through, simply go down and expand the description of the video, and all the chapters with each individual topic and article that I talk about is down there in the description. So go ahead and link the description so you can pick and choose what you would like to watch if you don't have time to watch the whole entire episode. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with today's episode. Alright guys, so we're going to kick off the show with our entertainment and pop culture news. We're definitely going to start off with that. It was a lot of interesting things that happened this week that I want to share with you guys. So we're going to first get started with our pop culture in our entertainment news with our celebrity news. So we're going to start out and see what's happening out in the world of celebrities, because it's definitely some tomfoolery going on right now in the celebrity world. So let's go ahead and take a look at this real quick. So first up, we have Kim Kardashian asks court to move forward on divorce with Ye. Kim Kardashian has asked the court to ignore Ye's attempts to slow down their divorce and end their marriage as soon as possible. She filed documents in Los Angeles Superior Court late Wednesday saying Ye, who illegally changed his name from Kanye West in his own recent filings, began adding conditions to the divorce that will mean changing the couple's prenuptial agreements, and is seeking protections that are unnecessary and based on falsehoods. Kardashian said it's clear that he is simply attempting to delay and is causing damage by doing so. Mr. West, by his actions, has made it clear that he does not accept that the parties' marital relationship is over, the court filing says. Mr. West has disseminated on social media the parties' private communications and misinformation about personal family matters and co-parenting, which has caused emotional distress. So guys, I don't know what's going on. Kanye is really giving negatively polarized Gemini vibes right now. He's really off his rocker. I don't understand anything. Wasn't it Kanye? Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys out there, but wasn't it him that wanted the divorce? Like, I'm not understanding anything that he's doing. Wasn't it him that has been with other women, like in social media and out and about, like just been seen, taking pictures, dating, all kinds of things? I totally don't get what this is that he's trying to do. Maybe it's because he was trying to play a game and now that game has now caught up with him. This is just interesting, you guys, to see what's actually going on, because I don't think Kanye thought it was gonna go this way. But that's what happens when you mess with a Libra. Kim Kardashian is a Libra. And personally, that's another reason why I limit my interactions with Geminis, because they do things like that. Not all Geminis. Some Geminis are positively polarized, and Geminis bring a lot of beautiful energy to the world. But Kanye is definitely on his negative Gemini tips. So Kim, Not the biggest fan of the Kardashians at all, really, but Kim, I pray that you are able to balance out your life and bring back balance and harmony within your aura and within your personal life, so that you don't have to deal with the instability that Kanye brings into your awareness, my love. So that's my hope and prayer for Kim Kardashian. And I don't know, you guys tell me, what do you guys think about all this in the comments? So let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. Next up, we have Wendy Williams Show ending with new Sherri Shepherd show ahead. The Wendy Williams Show will end because of Williams' prolonged health-related absence and be replaced this fall with a show hosted by Sherri Shepherd, the producer of both TV programs, said Tuesday. The new daytime show, crisply titled Sherri, will inherit the time slots on Fox-owned and operated stations that have been the backbone of Williams' nationally syndicated talk show since 2008. Producers and distributors Deb Marr Mercury said, since Wendy is not available to host the show as she continues on her road to recovery, we believe it's best for our fans, stations, and advertising partners to start making this transition now, company co-presidents Mort Marcus and Ira Bernstein in a statement said. We hope to be able to work with Wendy again in the future and continue to wish her a speedy and full recovery, the executive said. They also expressed their great love and affinity for Wendy and admiration for her success. Wow, you guys, I had no idea she had been on the air since 2008. I don't really follow Wendy Williams because for me, she's a bit messy. Messy to like just an extent that I don't really particularly agree with. I know I report on things, but her perspectives and her level of judgment that she's brought to a lot of things just seems a little bit over the top. But I would never wish anything bad on her, but it's interesting to see how they are swiftly replacing her. Of course, a Bernstein would, if anybody catches what I mean by that, if you know what a Bernstein is. But I'm just going to leave that there, Ira Bernstein and Mort Marcus. So, of course, they would be ready to replace her. But that's what you guys got to realize about this entertainment industry. They are all about the dollar, the almighty dollar, and all about keeping people's attention. They don't actually give a care about the people that come through. They will raise you and drop you. They will bring you in and cancel you all at the same time. So, I do hope Wendy gets better. I have no ill will towards her, but I would be remiss if I did not say that some of this might be a part of her karma for just her being the person that she is and being the figure that she is. So, I am not the judge of karma, but I do have my Libra scales, and when I put her heart and weigh it against the feather on my Libra Ma'at scale, I don't know, if her heart would have been as light as a feather, but I do know she's gone through a lot, and maybe she bought some of the stuff on herself, maybe she didn't. I don't really know her personal life like that, but interesting. But good for you, Sherri Shepherd. You're coming back into the fold, coming back into TV, so that's good for her, I guess. I'm not gonna watch that show, just like I didn't watch the Wendy Williams Show. And it is what it is. So, y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comment. Do you watch Wendy? Are you watching Sherri now? Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Moving right on along to our next topic. Meghan, Prince Harry to receive honors at NAACP Image Awards. So, Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, will receive the President's Award during the 53rd NAACP Image Awards this weekend. The NAACP announced Thursday that it has selected Prince Harry and Meghan, who have heeded to the call of social justice and joined the struggle for equity in the U.S. and around the world. The couple will be given the award during the February 26th ceremony that will be televised on BET. Previous recipients included Jay-Z, Muhammad Ali, Rihanna, LeBron James, and Jesse Jackson. NAACP President Derek Johnson and Prince Harry and Meghan have inspired said Prince Harry and Meghan have inspired the next generation of activists through the NAACP Archwell Digital Civil Rights Awards. It's a newly created award that recognizes leaders creating change within social justice and technology realms to advance civil and human rights. Alrighty then, so seems like the NAACP just wants to get clout and maybe a check from the royal family or a reason to ask for him. They've created a whole new award. That's a President's Chosen Award. So, excuse me for not knowing this, you guys, but what did they do for civil rights? What have they done to help change in social justice? I don't know. Like, conspiracy theorists said they're hiding out at Tyler Perry Studios. I don't know. Like, people say that they're clones. People say all kinds of things. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. Somebody please tell me what they did for social justice in the technology realm, because I don't know what they did. Meghan, she used to look more and more like an indigenous woman, and now it seems like she's even more whitewashed. I mean, she did marry the Prince of England, so I mean, she would have to look as white as possible, I would imagine. Like, it was a lot of contention there with him marrying her, but this whole thing is just interesting, you guys. I mean, I don't understand this one. I don't get it, but if the NAACP wants to give that, they did hire Rachel Dolezal, who was a Caucasian woman, that decided that she wanted to choose to be black and braid her hair and all this other type of stuff. So nothing surprises me that the NAACP does at this point. Look, they already done gave Jesse Jackson an award. Like, Lord Jesus. And let me not speak against Jesse Jackson, but I don't particularly fall in alignment with his ideology, but, none of this even shocks me at this point. It's all, the NAACP seems to be a circus to me, but that's just my opinion. You guys let me know what you think about Meghan and Prince Harry receiving an award. Just recently made up award from the president of the NAACP in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. Moving right on along. The Backstreet Boys are kicking off their DNA World Tour with Las Vegas show. The veteran boy band is headed back to Sin City this April. Backstreet's back. All right. Hey, the Backstreet Boys announced a string of shows in Las Vegas on Wednesday, February 23rd to launch the upcoming DNA World Tour. The 4 concerts are set to take place on April 8th, 9th, 15th, and 16th at the Coliseum at Caesars Palace, and will mark the veteran boy band's first return to the Las Vegas Strip since wrapping their residency Backstreet Boys Larger Than Life back in 2019 at the Zappos Theater at Planet Hollywood. So you guys, Backstreet Boys is coming back. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was definitely more of an NSYNC fan during that era, but Backstreet Boys was also another big boy band at the time. Of course, them all biting off people like the Jackson 5 and New Edition and all the other black boy bands at the time. But I guess you can say the Beatles and all that other stuff too, I guess. But, it is what it is. But I don't know, you guys, if I'm really going to go see Backstreet Boys. I mean, they have a couple of songs that I really did like in that time period, but not enough to move me to want to go see their tour. They all look pretty aged too. Like, they didn't age as gracefully. Not all of them, but some of them still look really well. But the Backstreet Boys, they all, like, at least they don't look as old as some of the New Edition members look when they perform. So, So I don't know. Are you guys excited for the Backstreet tour? Are you guys gonna go out to Vegas or go to any of the shows that they're having? Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. I definitely won't be going to see the Backstreet Boys, but more power to them, and I wish them much success in all their endeavors. And if they release another album and they have some hot hits, I might support. But other than that, I'll see you guys on the YouTube clips. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And last but not least, Megan Thee Stallion calls out Tory Lanez for tweet. Just admit you shot me. Megan Thee Stallion is firing back at Tory Lanez after he took to Twitter to imply that she is lying about the July 2020 shooting incident, in which Lanez allegedly shot an unarmed Megan in the foot. It all started when Megan shared a text about a conversation between her and Lanez, in which he sent a string of messages apologizing from the bottom of my heart. I was just too drunk, Tory Lanez wrote. Nonetheless, shouldn't have happened. SHI, you know the rest. Shouldn't have happened. Should have never happened, and I can't change what I did. I just feel horrible. While the text didn't explicitly mention the shooting, Megan explained that the incident was what led to the text. Lie your way out of this, she wrote. If you ain't do SHI, what is you apologizing for? Lanez then took to Twitter without mentioning Megan to apply. The apology came from text. And the text came from good DIC, you know what else, had me effing two best friends, and I got caught before adding, it's sick of how you spun it though. So, yeah, y'all, this Tory Lanez situation and Megan Thee Stallion thing has gotten out of hand. It's so much going on. DJ Academics then got in the middle of this. It's so much going on. Like, you know, honestly, I remember from Big Old Freak when it first came out, I never was really the biggest Megan Thee Stallion fan. I mean, I was happy she was doing her thing. She has a few bops that I might listen to. You know, funny thing, I like the song, a lot of songs she did with the baby, but, you know, they don't even deal with each other anymore. But, you know, I'm not the biggest Megan Thee Stallion fan. You know, but this has gotten out of control, and, you know, there's so many rumors going around about Roc Nation and helping her out and all this stuff between her and her label, and it's just too much, y'all. Like, you know, but people are definitely saying if Megan lied about this, that it's gonna be bad for her career, her music career, that is. But looks like she has a contingency plan. She's moving more into acting and brand deals and things like that. But this whole thing is just interesting, you guys. Like, you know, I don't know what's really going on with this. What's the real truth? But it appears that we'll be finding out soon, because they moved the court date back that they're talking about dealing with all this. There was a lot of back and forth about who said what, and, you know, the court date that just passed, and it's been postponed to April and all this other type of stuff. So I guess we'll find out soon. All the rap women the most popular rap women have had a lot of court dealings this past year. We had Cardi B with Tasha K and her other 50 cases that she got, you know, beating up them girls and having them girls beat up and all this other stuff. We had Nicki Minaj and all the foolishness she had with her husband's, the girl that accused him of all, whatever she accused him of. And then we also have now Megan Thee Stallion with her lawsuits against her label and this situation with Tory Lanez. What is it with all these rap women in the court for the 2020s decade? This is just interesting, you guys. So, what do y'all think about this? Whose team are y'all on? Team Tory Lanez or Team Megan Thee Stallion? Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments. Moving right on along to our next topic for today's episode, you guys. Under our pop culture and entertainment news, we have straight from the gram and the Twitter universe. Instagram and Twitter. Let's see what's going on today. So first up, we got Gunna. We pushing peace. Pray for Ukraine. Now, Gunna, do you know anything about what's really going on in Ukraine? Like, you know, these people kill me, and I'm not gonna pretend that I'm a big fan of Gunna's music, but he from Atlanta, and as much as we deal with beef and violence in the trap music industry and the types of things that people from Young Thugs can't come across in the hood, you just now pushing for peace over Ukraine? What? You know, so it's just like, okay, Gunna, you know, it's whatever. Like, people just be, looking for clout, looking for likes and comments. It's like, Gunna, your album's doing pretty good. Don't mess it up. You up there on the charts right now. Don't mess it up trying to delve into things that you really don't understand about. But everybody's talking about pray for Ukraine and prayers up and all this other crazy stuff. So, I'm just more along the mindset of, when you don't know, don't even speak on things that you really don't know about, especially things that you just hear about in the news. But I guess that's contradictory since that's all I speak about here on this podcast. Isn't that funny, you guys? That's hilarious to me. But yeah, I still don't want to hear Gunna talking about pushing peace for Ukraine, praying for Ukraine. But I do agree with the sentiment, I guess. But, we'll talk about that in world news because who really knows or understands what's going on with this whole Ukraine situation or what's going on with it. But go ahead and get your likes and your clout from your tweets, Gunna. I feel you, I guess. So, moving right on along to our next post. So, coming up next, we got a post from Kodak Black. And he says, my baby mama's so pretty. I wore blue and pink to be neutral about everything, even though I wanted a boy, because I just had a daughter in January. I was a little upset when the pink smoke came out, but it is what it is. I know we'll produce a beautiful, healthy baby. To be honest, I was supposed to have 2 daughters anyway for my legacy. King, queen, princesses, and prince. The next one gonna be a boy though. No matter what, I would forever love all my kids the same. Yeah. Okay, Kodak. So he brings up an interesting perspective that I think I'm gonna save from the headline section, you guys, because everybody's hoping for boys or hoping for whatever they're hoping for nowadays, and that's hoping for children. That's just an interesting concept, but let's save that from the ground. Let's talk about that more, and from the headlines, talk about that a little bit more, and let's go ahead and get to our last post on the Twitter and Instagram world right now. So the very last thing we have is from Saucy Santanna. He simply poses the question: Chris Brown or Trey Songz? Now, this is funny to me because of what's going on with Chris Brown and Trey Songz. People were definitely in the comments like, what do you mean for are we choosing between rape or physical abuse? Like, what is it that we're choosing between? People had all kind of obscene commentary to say. And once again, this is all alleged from my end because I don't know personally of Chris Brown or Trey Songz doing anything that they've been accused of. So, but of course we all know there's allegations and accusations flying around, and people were speculating, what is Saucy Santanna talking about? Some people actually were trying to be positive about it, and they was talking about, oh, you talking about for music? Well, Chris Brown for the hits, and Trey Songz for the discography, and people was like, Chris Brown all day, Chris Brown over Trey Songz. People were saying a lot of stuff, but what was Saucy Santanna talking about, you guys? Chris Brown and Trey Songz. What is he? Is he just out here trying to get clout too on Twitter? Just trying to get people talking, get likes, and get whatever? So that's an interesting topic. And I don't remember. I think he might have made a comment about maybe being in favor of Chris Brown. I personally am more of a Breezy fan musically than Trey Songz, but I actually like them both as far as musically. They both have a lot of songs, but I definitely am a big musical fan of Chris Brown. And, allegations and accusations aside, should they be proven false, I think they're both people that I would definitely love to network with and do different things with musically, because they're both extremely talented. But at the same time, just being realistic, people want to know, what was Saucy Santanna talking about? So I want you guys to let me know in the comment, what was you thinking that Saucy Santanna was talking about between Chris Brown and Trey Songz? Because we all kind of want to know Saucy Santanna, or if he puts out another tweet clarifying what it was that he was mentioning about Chris Brown and Trey Songz. That would be interesting to know. So you guys let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and move along to our music news and releases. We have some interesting things to share. 2 interesting articles before we get into the releases, so let's go ahead and get into it. First up, we have the Met Opera shares 2022-23 season. Netrebko, as in Anna Netrebko, not in Lohengrin. So she won't be in Lohengrin. Let's talk about it. Soprano Anna Netrebko added to her list of cancellations, withdrawing from the new production of Wagner's Lohengrin at the Metropolitan Opera that is among 7 new stagings the company announced Wednesday for its 2022-23 season. Netrebko scrapped 4 performances of Verdi's Nabucco at the Vienna State Opera from November 1 through 12th, saying she needed shoulder surgery. The 50-year-old then pulled out of 4 Nabucco performances at the London's Royal Opera from January 14th to the 24th, with the company citing travel restrictions in Europe. Netrebko did not respond to requests for comments made through her public relations representative, 21C Media Group. Next season includes 7 new to the Met productions, the most since 2012-13 season. 4 are originating at the Met, and 3 will move to New York after opening in Europe. The Met, which resumes its season Monday following a scheduled 4-week break, lost the entire 2021-2020 season because of the pandemic. Interesting, you guys. Anna Netrebko is not singing, you guys, in Lohengrin. So, that's interesting. She's pulling a Natalie Dessay for my opera buffs, for all the people that care about this. I just wanted to report on this. You guys know I'm a classical singer and I study classical music, so keeping up with opera news is important to me, for music news particularly so. But for the people that know who these people are, Anna Netrebko is pulling a Natalie Dessay. What do you guys think? She's getting older, Anna Netrebko has been a soprano of our time that has been a leading lady around the world. And she's pulling out. She needed her shoulder surgery, you guys. So, interesting. I mean, I wonder if there's anything else behind it. I wonder if she's having any vocal things going on. A lot of people will often, have comments about how she sings and her technique and her use of different things. So, people think she sings too heavy. People think she has a wobble, all kinds of things that they say about her classical voice. But I think she has a nice voice. She's not one of my favorite sopranos, but, she has a beautiful voice. But I'm just wondering if there's more to this story, you guys. For all my opera buffs and people that keep up with the opera world out there, what do you know about this? Let me know what's going on at the Met and with Anna Netrebko in the comments, you guys. And moving on to our second news article that we have in the pop world, a review of the pop punk queen Avril Lavigne's reign on Love Sux, her new album. Avril Lavigne is known for being a pillar of pop punk in the early 2000s, who paved her own path in the male-dominated alternative rock world. It's been almost 20 years since her debut album Let Go was released in the summer of 2002, but the Grammy Award nominated artist is reminding everyone that she is still the master of the genre in her new 7th album, Love Sux. This new album transports us back to those days when teen angst was palpable and alternative rock was playing on your MySpace page. Lavigne is not trying to appease anyone. Many of the tracks on her album explore an edge to pop punk that's not typical to mainstream top 40 radio. Electric guitars are blasting through almost every track. The first song, Cannonball, you hear feedback amp in the electric guitar. Then she sings, like a ticking time bomb, I'm about to explode. You can hear the punk rock sounds all over the album, the power chords and loud riffs. But Lavigne is still very much a pop star in all the best ways. Bite Me, Love Sux, and Love It When You Hate Me. The Black Bear lean into alternative rock vibe, but they still have catchy addictive pop hooks. So you guys, Avril Lavigne is back. You guys, Avril Lavigne is doing her thing. Avril Lavigne definitely takes me back to my youth and those early years. I definitely was a fan of her when she first came out. Now, one thing I'll just say, just throw it out there. Did y'all hear that thing about how Avril Lavigne is now a clone or something, or a cyborg or an android or something? Like, I don't know. They say she started acting different and stuff like that. I don't really know the whole story, but I guess it's one of those conspiracy theory things. I don't know about all that, and I don't particularly agree with it, but it's just something that I'm wondering if anybody knew about. But they say her music sounds different, but I've loved all her music ever since she's ever came out, and I think that this sounds like it'll be no different, so I'm gonna definitely check out this new album, you guys. It definitely sounds like it's going to be interesting and going to be a doozy. So that's one thing that seems very interesting for our music news. And you guys gotta let me know what you think about that in the comments. So let's go ahead and get into our new releases. So we'll start out with the singles, you guys. I didn't really see a whole lot of singles that really stuck out to me. Of course, Avril Lavigne came out with FU, as we was just talking about, on her new album that just dropped. So that was interesting. Who else did we have this week come out with some interesting singles? Charlie XCX, she came out with a remix for Beg For You. So that was interesting. Flo Milli, PBC, just came out with a new song, for those that know about Flo Milli. Did anybody else interesting come out with a single this week? Lil Durk, you guys, he came out with Aha. So that's an interesting one that came out. One Republic came out with West Coast. So that's another interesting one. What else do we have? We have this group called The Vaccines with the song called The Thunder Fever. So that seems interesting. And Tisha with Boys. So those are some of our new releases when it comes to the music, as far as that's concerned. So let's take a look and see what albums have came out this week. Of course, we have Love Sux, what we just talked about, with Avril Lavigne. So that's definitely one interesting one. Earth Gang came out with Ghetto Gods. We got that. Gangs of Youth, Angel in Real Time. Interesting album that came out. Lady Bird with We. Another interesting album. Seems like it'll be an interesting thing. But other than that, you guys, we got a few other albums. Let's take a look here. We have a whole bunch of independent and unknown artists that have dropped. Of course, you guys remember earlier in the week, Donda 2 came out, of course. So that was something that was interesting. But, you know, I'm not really too sure about who all has really dropped any more things that you guys would know about. Let's take a look here on this one. I mean, really one of the biggest drops this week was Avril Lavigne. You know, she was one of the biggest drops. She chose a good week to come out and not have to compete against a whole bunch of people. So we're definitely supporting Avril Lavigne as she comes out with some interesting music for us to check into. Low Moon with Modern Life. That was another interesting one that came out. Papoose, None of This Matters Now. So Papoose came out. What else has come out? The Scorpions with Rock Believer. So yeah, this is kind of a slow week for mainstream artists, you know, but I wonder what else as far as the hip-hop world came out this week. Kodak Black came out with Back for Everything, so that's another thing. 42 Doug and SG came out with Last Ones Left. Conway the Machine, God Don't Make Mistakes, which was supposed to come out, but I'm not sure if it did. So we got some interesting things been released, and we have one release in the middle of the week that's coming out, you guys, on, I believe, Monday or Tuesday, and that's Ace Hood with Mind. So what are you guys listening to this week as far as singles and albums? Let me know what I missed, you guys. Let me know what you guys are listening to. Not much I'm going to check out beyond Avril Lavigne this week, but that's what it's looking like for the week, guys. So let me know what I missed and what you guys are going to listen to in the comments for this weekend. Alright, guys, so we have gotten to the chart section, the Billboard Charts, that is, of Oba Omi Says. So under our pop culture and entertainment news, that we're here at the chart section. So let's talk about what's going on the top 10 of most of these Billboard charts. Let's talk about it, you guys. So right now we're going to start with the Hot 100 singles and see what's going on. So number 1, we don't talk about Bruno. Been dominating for this season, of course. Number 1, pretty much almost all 8 weeks has been on the chart. Disney doing their thing as usual. Heat Waves by Glass Animals has moved up a couple of spots this week to number 2. Adele was going down, but Easy on Me is kind of staying at number 3. We got at number 4, ABCDEFU by Gayle. Came up a couple of positions. She's been up and down, but staying in the top 10. We got Stay by Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber. Holding steady at number 5 this week. Got Super Gremlin by Kodak Black holding steady again at number 6 this week. Number 7 on the top 100, we got Shivers by Ed Sheeran moving back up. Moved up a point. We got Ghost by Justin Bieber, which moved up again from number 9 up to number 8. And then we got That's What I Want by Lil Nas X moving up to number 9 from number 12, interestingly enough. He's came back up into the top 10. It's been a while since he's been there. He's been in the top 20, but he's in the top 10 this week. And at number 10, we got Gunna, Pushing P, still holding on for dear life, but they moved back up to the top 10 this week. Still been in the top 20. Gunna been doing his thing, and now he's pushing peace. So, it is what it is. So, we got some interesting movement in the top 20, some different things. For those who are interested to know, Bussin' by Nicki Minaj, because she was number 2 last week, but Bussin' premiered this week at number 20 on the Billboard Hot 100. And unfortunately, Do We Have a Problem dropped a lot, but it's still in the top 30. Where is it? Let me take a look here. Do We Have a Problem? Actually, it's number 32, so it's in the top 40. So it dropped from number 2 all the way down. It was up there for 2 weeks, but now it's down to number 32. So for those who are interested to know what's going on with Nicki, the queen of rap. So it did drop drastically, but hey, she had a good first 2 weeks, you know what I mean? So she's had a good first couple of weeks, and she's still doing it. Bussin' is up there, so for all the barbs out there, we got some hot things going on with Nicki still right now. So let's take a look at the Billboard 200 for albums this week. Number 1, we got Encanto. Encanto, Disney still holding it down as usual. They're going to take this for a while, so just hold on to the Encanto train for all those that are concerned. Gunna has stayed, and he's kind of been up here. He's number 2 for albums. He's still up there, so, he's number 2 right now on the Billboard 200 for albums. Dangerous, The Double by Morgan Wallen moved up to number 3. Certified Lover Boy jumped up from number 7 from last week to number 4, so Drake, okay, I see you. The Weeknd, The Highlights, surprisingly, is over his current album. The one that just came out just moved up to number 5, so that's interesting. Doja Cat's moved back up too. She's number 6. Planet Her has moved back up. Adele has moved up this week. She's been in the top 10, but she was number 9. Well, she was still in the top 10, but she was number 9, and she moved up 2 points this week on albums for 30. The Curtain Call, The Hits by Eminem moved up to number 8. Dr. Dre moved his album 2001, Dr. Dre, that has been on the chart for 169 weeks, has moved up to number 9 out of nowhere, so that's interesting. His peak position for that album has been number 2, but he moved up. And at number 10, we got Olivia Rodrigo with Sour. So Dawn FM, which is The Weeknd's, recently moved down to number 11. So, you know, actually Mary J. Blige, for those who are Mary J. Blige fans, she premiered at number 14 on albums. So Taylor Swift moved down. Juice WRLD's still in the top 20. Polo G moved down, but he's still in the top 20. And Donda is moving back up to the top 20. So we got some interesting movement with the albums right now for the Billboard 200. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Global 200 singles. Global 200 singles, guys. We don't talk about Bruno. When are y'all going to understand that Disney is here to stay and is not going anywhere? We Don't Talk About Bruno is the song of 2022. Y'all better get used to it. Disney is taking home the gold this year. I want them just to prove a point to dominate number 1 all year over all these people that claim to be number 1 and everything. I just want to see them do it. We Don't Talk About Bruno, y'all. Still going strong at number 1 globally and in the US. We got Gayle on the global charts with ABCDEFU at number 2. Keeping it, holding it down there. Heat Waves by Glass Animals, still number 3. Pretty much most of this stuff has been kind of holding it down. Stayed by Killer Roy on the global chart, still number 5. Imagine Dragons Enemy, still number 6. Mommy by Becky G and Karol G just premiered at number 7 on the Billboard Global. We got Ed Sheeran with Shivers still holding down at number 8 globally, and Adele still holding down at number 9 globally as well. We have a re-entry. The Joker and the Queen re-entered this week at number 10 with that's Ed Sheeran and Taylor Swift. So we got some interesting things going on globally, you guys. Have some interesting things. Lil Nas X moving down globally. Jungkook moved up globally to number 13 with Stay Alive. I don't even know who that is. Pusha P is moving down globally, so we got some interesting things. Dua Lipa's moving down globally as well. So, you know, we got some interesting movements on the chart, the global charts right now. And last but not least, we have our Artist 100. The Weeknd still number 1, you guys. The Weeknd has been holding it down at number 1 for a little minute, and totally for the artist charts, he's been on the charts for 345 weeks, and his peak position is number 1, and he's still number 1. Ed Sheeran has moved up to number 2, taking out Adele, who has moved down to number 3 on the artist charts. Eminem, y'all, he moving back up. I mean, after that Super Bowl, I guess, and him and Dr. Dre, number 4 and number 5, they moving right on up this charts, y'all. I guess everybody was feeling some kind of way when they seen Eminem and Dr. Dre at this, at this Super Bowl. So they've been boosting them up on the charts this past couple of weeks. You know, we got Doja Cat, number 6. She moved down this week on the artist charts, but she's still in the top 10. Mary J. Blige is number 7 on the artist charts. So Mary, I guess the Super Bowl did a lot of people some good. Look, Mary didn't even moved up to number 7 on the artist charts. Taylor Swift moved down to number 8 this week. She's still in the top 10. Drake moved down to number 9 this week. He was number 6 last week. And Bruno Mars has moved back up into the top 10. Well, I think Silk Sonic did just release something, or they're about to release something, but he's on the artist charts, you guys. So we got some interesting things. Just to let y'all know what's going on in the top 20, Kendrick Lamar's moving up. He jumped up 10 points from number 21 to number 11, and he kind of knocked everybody else down. Kanye actually jumped up on the artist charts too, from number 44 to number 16, and he knocked a lot of people down too. Him and Kendrick this week have knocked people down in the top 20. So some drastic leaps was, I know Lil Baby dropped to number 13 this week on the artist charts from number 5. So we got some interesting movement. So interesting, guys. Is this what you all are hearing on the radio or your playlist or on your streaming platforms? Does this reflect what's really going on in the world of music, you guys? Is this the real chart information? You all gotta let me know what you all think about this. Does this reflect what you think it should be going on as far as the popularity of this music and what's being counted for these artists right now with the singles and the albums and just the artists in general? Let me know what you guys think about Billboard for this week in the comments. Alright guys, so moving right on along, we're going to move into our television and film news and releases for the week. So let's start off in the world of film. We have some interesting film movement in the film industry and just some interesting articles that I just wanted to cover before I get into the new film releases. So first up, we have slain cinematographer's husband angry, Baldwin deflects blame. So we have somebody that's a little upset right now. So the husband of a cinematographer shot and killed on set of the film Rust says it's absurd that Alec Baldwin believes he's not to blame for the shooting, and he was so angry when Baldwin didn't accept responsibility. The remarks made in excerpts released Wednesday from an interview with the Today Show are the first public words of Matt Hutchins on the October 21st death of his wife, Helena Hutchins. The idea that the person holding the gun and causing it to discharge is not responsible is absurd to me, Matt Hutchins told Today. Host Hoda Kotb in the interview that airs in full this Thursday. Baldwin said in a December interview with ABC News that he was pointing the gun at Helena at her instruction on the New Mexico set of The Western when it went off without his pulling the trigger, killing her and wounding director Joel Souza. So this is interesting, you guys. I'm sure most people have heard about the situation with the on-set death, but you know, my heart goes out definitely to the husband and to the family of the lady that died, the cinematographer that died. But we have to understand, you guys, I definitely work in the film industry. I've been on sets where lights have fallen, like that were lighting the scene for the set, like lighting the set for the scene rather, that have fallen feet away from me. And I could have been dead on a set. These types of things really do happen. Like, I've seen cranes take out electric lines and cut off power to, like, you know, the whole neighborhood that they were filming in. You know, there's been plenty of stunt people that have died doing stunts. And, you know, this is in no way to excuse Alec Baldwin. But I'm saying this to say that the film industry, especially when you're in the production, because you have pre-production, which is the casting, the budgeting, all that stuff, the funding. Then you have production, which is when you go to set to film. And then all the people and actors and everybody that's involved with that, the director, the crew, everybody. Then you have post-production, which is the editors and so on, marketing and so on and so forth. But when you're in the production part of it, it's a dangerous game sometimes, you guys, and it comes with the territory. So this does not, in my opinion, relieve Alec Baldwin. I can understand in some ways why he feels that it was not his fault, because the gun should not have been loaded, and I'm sure it's on the person that dealt with the props. And it's very weird that they would even have a real gun and all these things, and the whole situation is just weird. But it would have been nice for Alec Baldwin to at least take responsibility for it. But it's interesting because I feel that if it was a black man that accidentally did this, none of this would have gone the same way. They probably would have been charged for a crime and been up for some jail time, if not like a life sentence right now, even though it's Alec Baldwin can easily say he's not to blame for it. And I don't want to change the story and just go into a what if story based upon what actually happened. But you know, I'm just saying the dynamics of this thing is just definitely unusual. You know, I think if I were Alec Baldwin, I would definitely take responsibility for my part in it, but I probably at the same time would feel that it wasn't my fault. But then at the same time, I would have been like, well, I did shoot the gun and she did tell him and all these things. It's just a very messed up situation, guys. So I believe everybody in some way or another is entitled to their feeling. So, it's just a messed up situation, you guys. So, all in all, be careful when you're getting into the film industry because it is a dangerous world out there, you guys. Never underestimate what could happen and keep these things in mind whenever you're on a film set, that things can and oftentimes do go left. So moving right on along, we have two other interesting articles, guys. These states are passing all kinds of tax credit laws and stuff like that. Two states that I want to talk about that are passing tax credit laws, you guys. So we got the West Virginia House passes bill to reinstate the tax credit. So from Charleston, West Virginia, the West Virginia House passed a bill Tuesday that would give financial incentives to filmmakers working on projects in the state as long as they portray West Virginia in a positive light. Using the proposed tax credit, filmmakers could recoup up to 27% of spending on movies, television shows, and music videos in West Virginia that cost at least $50,000 to make. The program would be administered by the West Virginia Development Office, a division of West Virginia Department of Commerce. The Development Office will be allowed to give out up to $10 million in tax credits each fiscal year, which starts in July. The office can give out more credits for any feature-length film produced with West Virginia in the title, or if the subject of the film is clearly identified as West Virginia. So you guys, who wants to go to West Virginia first and foremost? Like, do they even have film studios? What do they have out there? Just empty warehouses that some of these film tycoons are willing to go buy for cheap right now. This is interesting to me that West Virginia of all states is trying to do this and they're reinstating it. So obviously they had it before, you guys. So this is interesting. When it comes to the actors and actresses and the producers and the directors and all the people that would do the work, of course they'll fly out somewhere cheap to do it. So, and of course they'll do it, but they're not going to stay. Nobody's going to move to West Virginia. I'm just keeping it real. How so many people from Hollywood wanted to move to Georgia and be around Atlanta and the outskirts of Atlanta. Like Amaretta said, the not Atlanta parts of Atlanta. Clay Cole, Fayette County, all these other places, Coweta County that they want to live at and dominate out there. So this is going to be interesting. And let me get to the next article before I talk about all this, about how I feel about these tax credits, you guys. So our next article is Arizona Senate votes to create a tax credit for film producers. So we got West Virginia reinstating. Arizona is creating a tax credit. So the state Senate voted Thursday to create up to $150 million in state tax credits to lure producers to make movies and television shows in Arizona. The measure was approved with bipartisan support from lawmakers who said it would create jobs for people working directly on productions, as well as the hotel, restaurant, and other local businesses that support them. So, we're missing a lot of really good economic activity and support and exposure for our tourism industry by not offering tax credits for film producers, said Senator Layla Alston, a Phoenix Democrat who supported the bill. Film tax credits have become increasingly popular in states looking to lure film producers, from California supporters of creating an Arizona tax credit says it's hard to compete for lucrative productions against states with generous tax credits. Several Republican critics said the bill was an unnecessary giveaway to Hollywood production companies. So, first off, another thing about Arizona, ain't nobody about to move out there and do no productions. Y'all barely, Arizona is like a desert. And this is going to be interesting to see how all this works out, you guys. Both West Virginia and Arizona are trying to lure people to come there, which ultimately means, and they're saying, it's going to create more jobs. In what industry? Not in the film industry. Because all they do, even in Georgia and in California, where I participate in the film industry in both of those states, all they do is outsource people from out of the country half the time, especially when you think about all the Marvel movies that were filmed in Georgia and all the people they bought from Great Britain and Canada and everywhere else to pay. Didn't use any Georgia locals for Black Panther. Now they'll let them be extras and they might get a caterer for the for catering on the film, and that's about it. and then they'll put the Georgia logo on it or whatever, but they're not really actually even creating jobs in the industry. They're just circulating the same small percentage of people. All of California moved over to Georgia just to run the production companies and the studios and things like that. So all of this is a big gimmick to move people around. And in my opinion, I think it's to get more foreigners to be able to move to America, to United States on these visas, saying they work for these film companies and stuff, to sell this land for cheap so they can drive the prices in the economy so high, because it's probably land so cheap in West Virginia and in Arizona right now, because Arizona is basically a desert and West Virginia is basically a forest that has a whole bunch of snow. And they're just trying to find ways. They're talking about, now maybe the other industries like the hotel industry and all that, the restaurants and stuff, maybe that might go up in Arizona, but this is not going to create more jobs for people in the film industry. It's people that move to all these states like California and Georgia and all these places hoping to become film producers, actors, directors, to break into the industry, and all they end up doing is become drug addicts and prostitutes. And excuse me for being real, but I've seen it happen too many times. How many people have moved to Atlanta trying to be talking about, Tyler Perry Studios is over there, they shooting all the Marvel movies over there, and now we're starting to have a homeless population that's starting to look close to New York and LA. So, in Georgia. And the same in LA. How many people on Skid Row wanted to be an actor? I mean, Skid Row is about the population of the people on the streets. Homeless people on the streets of California is, that's about equivalent to the people that's in the buildings, the population and numbers. And now we'll talk about this a little later, but Joe Biden giving people free crack pipes and stuff. And, we'll get to that later in the show, but it's crazy. And I think this is interesting. I think it's another agenda behind it. And ultimately, why can't they work with what they have? Of course, give a tax credit, but it needs to be so many more limitations towards what actually qualifies for a tax credit. Because even in Georgia, where I participated in a lot of films, it's a lot of private film companies that do not go by any of the laws. They don't hire people in the unions out there for the film unions, which they're contracted with the state to do that for films over $1 million, and that doesn't happen. So I guess they're just going to start doing that in Arizona and West Virginia as well. So, you guys, it is what it is. So, tell me what you guys think about all this movement with these film tax credits in Arizona and West Virginia. And let me know what you guys think about it. What has been your experience? If you know anybody that's been in the film industry or people that are doing work in the film industry, let me know what your experience is in the comments. Now, moving right on along to our openings in film this week, since we're talking so much about where things are filmed at, let's talk about what's actually coming out this week. So we got Studio 666, which I thought opened last week. I think I reported on it last week. I thought that came. I think that's already in theaters, you guys. So, in Serrano, which both of those are already in there, but I guess they have it on opening on Fandango for some reason that it's opening this week. So that's interesting. We got Butter, which I thought had already opened too. So hold on real quick. Let me just make sure I'm looking at the most current titles. Well, I guess it is. It's still coming up. The Godfather 50th year. Maybe this was just a slow week, so a lot of things they just included from last week. We got The Desperate Hour, which I thought came out last week too. I'll Find You, Rookie Season, Aja Mexico, The Jack Brothers, The Desperate Rider, The Prototype, Big Gold Brick, Let Me Be Me, Gasoline Alley, Family Squares, Lady Sings the Blues 50th anniversary coming out this week, guys. Mothering Sunday, My Best Part, The Burning Sea, IMAX, actually the Kanye presents Kanye West. I guess they just really released that, which was the situation that I think was going on his STEM player. I guess they played it in IMAX as well. Servants, Terror Tuesday shorts, Gunna, and Fighting Chance. So this is a slow movie week, you guys. I don't know what you guys are gonna watch, or if y'all just gonna go see Spider-Man, the Spider-Man movie that's still out, Spider-Man No Way Home, or Dog, or anything that has already been out, or maybe Jackass Forever. But yeah, this Studio 666 definitely came out last week. Okay, I'm seeing this now, but this is a slow movie week, you guys. Not very many titles. What are you guys going to see this week? Did I miss anything? What are you guys going to go see? Let me know in the comments what's going on. So now let's go ahead and move to our television news. We're here at the television part. So I got one interesting article that came on about a television program, an award show specifically, that I wanted to go over. So for our first piece of television news, the Oscars slims down and will hand out 8 awards ahead of the broadcast. To combat slumping ratings, the Oscars are undergoing a radical slimming down, with 8 awards to be presented off air during next month's telecast on the 94th Academy Awards. In a letter sent Tuesday to the members of the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Sciences, the group's president, David Rubin, said that the awards for film editing, production design, sound, makeup and hairstyling, music, original score, and 3 short film awards, documentary, live action, and animated, will be presented at the ceremony before the March 27th live broadcast begins on ABC. Now, instead of starting the ceremony and broadcast all at once, the Dolby Theater ceremony will begin an hour before the telecast does. The presentation and speeches of those early 8 winners will be edited and featured during the 3-hour live broadcast, which Rubin emphasized will still provide each winner with their Oscar moment. So guys, looks like the Oscars is scared that nobody's going to watch again this year, which they're probably not. Which I think the bigger issue is that nobody buys the Oscars or a lot of these award shows because they're full of people that we don't particularly even agree with. And by we, I mean we, the people, don't agree with, that says that these different people should win. But, you know, in the film world, people that have these awards and people that, you know, are in networking with the people that are a part of this academy, these are the people that get funded for the big budget productions, and they have this whole lineage all the way back to the beginning of the film industry, and you know they're still dominating it. So, but at the same time, they know people aren't watching, you guys. So I mean, they're not buying the Academy Awards, they're not buying the Oscars anymore, in my opinion. So I want to know what you guys think. Are you all planning on watching the Oscars, the Academy Awards? Are you excited about the 3 hosts? We got I remember it was Wanda Sykes and Regina Hall, and who was it? Amy Schumer, yeah. So is anybody excited to watch that? I'm not gonna watch it, but I don't watch any award shows. I think I watched the MTV Awards performances over YouTube. No, I think I just watched Normani's performance, but I didn't watch any of the rest of it. So, you know, I don't particularly ascribe to these academies and these committees giving out awards and trying to rank people over people, because, you know, a lot of these people have no aesthetic taste. You know, they wouldn't know art if it hit them in the face with a bag of bricks. So, you know, in my opinion. So, are you guys watching the Oscars? I'm not. Let me know what you guys think about this, and what do you all think about them just taking some of the, you know, because they don't feel like they're going to get any good ratings anyway, they're taking some of these awards off the main part of the Oscars. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. And for our last piece of television news, we're going to go ahead and move on to our new releases, our new television releases for the week. So let's take a look here. So we had some interesting things that did come out this week. Everybody was going in about, you know, this week just passed. We had, of course, the Proud Family, which was a big one, and some things like that. So let's see what's going to come out, you know, starting this week. So on Saturday, we have The Hunt for the Chicago Strangler on the ID channel, coming on at 9 p.m. On Sunday, February 27th, we have American Idol, which I didn't even know. Well, I didn't know ABC picked it up, but I'm surprised that's even still going on, the glorified karaoke contest. But it's coming on ABC on Sunday, February 27th. The Tournament of Champions on the Food Network. The food that built America on the History Channel. Interesting. Killing Eve coming on the BBC February 27th. What else do we have, you guys? Better Things on the FX channel on Monday, the 28th. Murdoch Mysteries on Acorn TV, Monday the 28th. Worst Roommate Ever coming out March 1st on Netflix. The Guardians of Justice also coming out on Netflix on March 1st. The Larry David Story coming out on HBO on March the 1st. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe coming out March 3rd. They're bringing He-Man back, you guys, so that ought to be interesting. I might have to check that out. The Dropout on Hulu coming out Thursday, March the 3rd. We have Star Trek Picard on Paramount Plus March the 3rd. Joe vs. Carol coming out on Peacock March the 3rd. Top Chef on Bravo March the 3rd. Then we got Dicktown on FX, March the 3rd. Pieces of Her on Netflix, March the 4th, Friday. The Boys presents Diabolical on Prime Video, March the 4th. Central Park on Apple TV Plus, March the 4th. Lucy and Desi on Prime Video, March the 4th. So we got some interesting things coming out this week. What are you guys checking out on the television releases for this week coming up? I want you guys to let me know what you think about it in the comments. It's not a lot going on in the film and television world for me, so it's not a whole lot I'm going to be checking out this week. But definitely some interesting movement in the filming industry, both for television and, motion pictures. So interesting. Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments. Alright guys, so now we are here at the World News segment. Wow, this week it's been the most going on in the world news, be it US, be it all over the world. I know last week we had a lot of things just going on our side of the world, but they have turned up, they have piped up all those good things they done got lit over there on the other side of the world. So, let's talk about it, y'all. Let's see what's going on here with this world news, because this thing is a doozy. So let's go ahead and start on our side of the world. Let's start with our U.S. news. So first up, we have Trayvon Martin's 10th anniversary, a look at the players. So in Orlando, Florida, Trayvon Martin was visiting his father in Sanford, Florida, when the 17-year-old black teen was fatally shot on February 26, 2012 during a confrontation with George Zimmerman, a neighborhood watch volunteer. Zimmerman claimed self-defense and was later acquitted during a jury trial. Martin was unarmed. His death fueled the rise of Black Lives Matter movement just a couple of years later. An update on what is happening to the people involved in the tragedy for the past decade later. Of course, we have some of the players that they're updating, which is Trayvon Martin. He's a part of a long list of people. We have George Zimmerman, who has basically been acquitted. He's regularly subjected to death threats, though, and he's had to move to protect himself and to find employment. Sabrina Fulton, who is Trayvon's mother, she ran for mayor, and she's done a few things, and she was endorsed by Hillary Clinton and everything, but she didn't quite make it. And they go on to list a lot of other people that were dealing with the Trayvon Martin case, but basically, not a lot has moved forward with this, you guys. There has never really truly been any justice for Trayvon Martin, as we all know, but it's been 10 years. Isn't it crazy that it's been 10 years, you guys, since the Trayvon Martin situation? And then since then, it's just been so many other situations that it almost makes the Trayvon Martin situation look minuscule. Right after that, we had Sandra Bland, Ahmaud Arbery came a few years ago. It's just been so crazy. And Breonna Taylor, the list goes on and on and on and on. So you guys, you got to tell me what you think about this whole situation. I mean, I think it's crazy. I don't really think that people of color have received any other level of justice since that situation, or even since the rise of Black Lives Matter, which a lot of people allege is ran primarily by Caucasians. But the Black Lives Matter movement does seem very weird. It doesn't seem like it's autonomous or like purely from quote unquote black people, but it's just interesting, guys. So tell me what you think about the 10-year of the Trayvon Martin anniversary, and a look at all the players in the comments. So next thing we have on the U.S. news. U.S. news, we're still talking about quote unquote black people and things going on. So the states urged to address funding disparities for HBCUs. Several members of Congress are calling on states to address gaps in their funding for schools in the land-grant university system that shortchange historically black colleges and universities. In a letter sent to the governors, lieutenant governors, and state house legislative leadership in 18 states on Wednesday, 6 Democratic members of the U.S. House said equitable state funding is essential for the schools to reach their potential. The letter, which was first shared with the Associated Press, also highlighted the role of HBCUs, what they have played in driving innovation for the nation's food supply. For American agriculture to remain resilient, secure, and globally competitive, we must ensure equitable investments in our land-grant institutions who have been drivers of innovation, wrote Reps David Scott and Sanford Bishop of Georgia, Bobby Scott of Virginia, Alma Adams of North Carolina, Stacey Plaskett of the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Al Lawson of Florida. So, it says the country's land-grant university system was first established in 1862 under the Morrill Act, which gave public lands to states to establish colleges that focus on educating students in agriculture and mechanics. So, what do you guys think about that? I mean, I know a lot of people who have gone to HBCUs. HBCUs are a driving force in so many communities, especially in the South, which I think primarily all HBCUs are in the southeastern part of the United States. It's interesting that, we have this college in the Virgin Islands, which they obviously had to become an HBCU, which makes sense for them to be one, but they had to have became one later. But the whole thing is interesting to me. I mean, HBCUs need much more than letters from Congress, in my opinion. So I'm kind of confused as to why they're still writing letters in 2022 and not actually moving funds. So it's interesting. But then again, at the same token, a lot of our HBCUs are so corrupted nowadays. I mean, they barely teach agriculture anymore. Not many of them teach agricultural sciences and things like that. They're trying to remain competitive amongst other colleges and universities, but they kind of have always been at a deficit. And I just think it's just a disparaging situation. But, to be honest, you guys, education, whether it's collegiate, whether it's high school, middle school, or elementary school, it's all going down the drain and being reformed as we know it. So this is going to be interesting to watch, to see how this develops. But, I pray that our universities, our historically black colleges and universities really do receive more support. And I pray that they really have less corruption, because the more you talk to people from HBCUs, you hear about all the crazy stories that go on in these financial aid departments and all these things. But I mean, it's not like it's not going on at the predominantly Caucasian institutions either. It's going on everywhere, but just goes to show you that education as a whole just needs to reform, just period. So let me know what you guys think about the disparity of the HBCUs and, these senators trying to urge the states to do such in the comments. So up next, we have a very interesting video that I want you guys to listen to. And this video is surrounding what y'all President Joe Biden, what he's doing right now and the things that he's actually finding funding for. You know, so let's take a listen to this video right here.
This is where we living at, y'all, and this is what the government's doing. Joe Biden said he spent $60 million on paraphernalia for drugs, and this is what it looks like. It says being alive. This is a meth pipe. Yep. Right here with this bubble thing. I guess you put the meth in there. This is a crack pipe. Yep. Okay. These are all instructions on how to overdose treatment and education. This is the needle in here. I'm not going to open this. That's for heroin? Yes, for heroin. It has the alcohol pass. That's a real needle? It's a needle in there. Oh my God. And these things are like a black and mild filter that you put on the crack pipe so you don't think no one's saliva, so you don't get sick, and you can do your drugs. So this is
they like if you're gonna do drugs, we're gonna give it to you so that you can do it the proper way without getting sick.
Because we're not stopping it. We're not gonna stop it.
Exactly.
So there you have it, people. President Joseph Biden is giving out crack pipes, meth pipes, and heroin needles. I mean, that's the legacy that he's going to have. You know, he's the crack pipe president. You know, so. You know, I feel like with the money that he spent on that, he might as well kept giving out PPPs and unemployment, even for the people that was scamming, because now you're fueling the drug economy. But I guess with the economy being so bad, they gotta push it non-display, not push P, but they gotta push this stuff some kind of way. So I guess they need more people on it. It's crazy, and they're trying to say live your life or whatever they said, support life, whatever he said in the pamphlet. But you know, this is just kind of crazy to me. You know, and then these are some of the most dangerous and addictive drugs, and the type of drugs that really modify people's thinking and their whole way of life. So I find this very interesting that this is what you all's president is deciding to endorse and deciding to put out right now. So, you know, I don't really have too much more to say about it. All I can do is say SMH and do that. Shake my head. That's all I can do, SMH. And so you guys let me know what you all think about the crack pipe president, the meth pipe president. I mean, what y'all think about him and him deciding to fund drug habits around our country. All right, now, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to our world news. And world news has definitely been interesting this week. So first up for world news, we have the British Queen still has COVID symptoms and postpones audiences. The Queen is postponing audiences, you guys. Queen Elizabeth II postponed 2 virtual audiences as she continued to experience cold-like symptoms from COVID-19. Buckingham Palace said Thursday. It was the second time this week that Elizabeth, 95 years old, had canceled virtual sessions. However, she spoke by telephone with British Prime Minister Boris Johnson on Wednesday, and which was seen as an encouraging sign of her recovery. The monarch's age, COVID-19 diagnosis and health scare last year have caused worry among officials and the public. Her positive test for the coronavirus over the weekend prompted concern to get well wishes from across Britain's political spectrum. The palace said Sunday that Elizabeth, who has been fully vaccinated and had a booster shot, will continue with light duties at Windsor Castle. The Queen, who is the country's longest reigning monarch, has a series of engagements coming up as she celebrates her Platinum Jubilee, marking 70 years on the throne, which she is scheduled to host a March 2nd reception, which will involve meetings of hundreds of diplomats at Windsor. Y'all, it's looking interesting for the Queen. Now, she is, let's precursor this with, she is 95. So it's not like she's going to live forever unless she's like some kind of vampire or something. But aging at the rate that she is, I doubt that she's a vampire. So, I don't think that's the case. But you know, this is a reality, and to be honest, you all, some people have already started reporting that the queen is dead. So like, which really couldn't be true, because if she was, there's definitely a protocol that goes along with what's going to happen when she does cross into the next dimension. But you know, this is what's being said right now, you guys, that the queen is not feeling very well. So you know, she is ultimately the queen of the free world. She is the monarch of the UK, which really has its hand in every country around the world, to be honest. Any country that has a golden fringe flag has been touched and colonized by the UK in some way, form, or fashion. If they have a constitution and laws and stuff and a court system, more than likely they in some ways have been touched by the United Kingdom and the monarchy. So this is interesting, you guys. I'm sure there's going to be a lot that happens once the queen actually finally crosses. But you know, they do have a chain of succession of who things will go to, so it'll be interesting to see how these things are going to go down when the queen is actually done with her reign and when she crosses over into her next place that she's going to. So you guys, let me know what you think about Queen Elizabeth and her COVID symptoms in the comments. And last but not least, the biggest thing that has been going on in world news for really a couple of weeks, but definitely this week. And we has Russia presses invasion to outskirts of the Ukraine capital. You all know Russia has definitely started with this Ukrainian takeover. So Russia pressed its invasion of Ukraine to the outskirts of the capital Friday after unleashing airstrikes on the cities and military bases and sending in troops and tanks from 3 sides in an attack that will rewrite the global post-Cold War security order. Explosions sounded before the dawn in Kyiv as Western leaders scheduled an emergency meeting at Ukraine's president pleaded for international help. The nature of the explosions was not immediately clear, but the blast came amid signs that the capital and largest Ukrainian city was increasingly threatened following a day of fighting that left more than 100 Ukrainians dead. Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky said the government had information that subversive groups were encroaching on the city, and U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said Kyiv would be under siege in what U.S. officials believe is a brazen attempt by Russian President Vladimir Putin to dismantle the government and replace it with his own regime. Y'all, this is crazy, and like, you know, how it affects us over here. People are saying the gas prices are about to go up, and I'm not sure exactly where Ukraine is. I'm not gonna pretend that I know how the Eurasian continent is, you guys, but all I do know is that when it comes to the Middle East, going over into Russia and Asia and all that stuff, that's all of those oil places that they've been trying to control. I don't know if this is about oil. I don't really know what it's about, why they really want to move into it. I haven't really followed this other than, you know, everybody trying to act concerned about it because of it's a hot topic. But, you know, you got Gunna talking about pushing peace and all this other type of stuff. Like, he know anything about... Anyways, I ain't even gonna talk about Gunna no more. But, like, you know, he's sitting up here saying all this stuff, and everybody's just, oh, pray for Russia, pray for Ukraine, all this stuff. And it's like, y'all don't even know nothing about no Russia or Ukraine. And had it not came across the Shade Room, Neighborhood Talk, the Associated Press, or your local news, you wouldn't have been giving a damn, excuse my language, about no Ukraine. But, you know, it is what it is. I do pray for peace all over the world, and I wish them peace. But at the end of the day, all this stuff is so political, and there's so many secrets as to why these things go on around the world, you guys. I think this has probably been planned for years, and, you know, this is just a big play. Even your president, crack pipe president, is even playing along with it and acting like, oh, we're in such a grave state of danger and all this stuff. He probably knew about this. He probably sat at the table when they all planned this probably a decade ago. So, you know, I don't know, y'all. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm just a very large skeptic. I don't buy everything, the phrase believe half of what you see, and none of what you hear, or whatever it goes like. I don't believe any of it. As they're saying it. Now, it is actually things happening. I do believe that there is actually explosions and nuclear threats going on and an actual takeover. As to, how it's going down, I'm sure it's way more to the story. It'll probably be 3 or 4 decades before they start releasing all the real tea, as they would say, just like they did with 9/11 and all these previous wars and all the stuff that really went on. So, I guess we'll just have to wait and see how this turns out, or what it was really about. They probably going to use this to force some type of world war to, expand the economy, and who knows what they're trying to do to create this one world government. There's no telling what they're trying to do, you guys. But excuse me for being ignorant, for those who think I may be ignorant with my commentary and my opinion. But if you know better than I do, please let me know in the comments, because I need a little bit more of explanation about this whole thing. I'm trying to figure out what's going on, just like you are. We've all been hearing about it. When you got the Shade Room reporting on it, it's just like, oh, this is really some with the Shade Room, they post on all things from the Associated Press and all those other things too. But when you got them talking about it, it's definitely like a buzz pop culture thing. I hate to say it, but it is what it is. So you guys, let me know what you think about this and all the world news in the comments. Alright guys, so we have now got into our spiritual perspective section of Oba Omi Says. We're going to talk about some different things in the spiritual perspective. Of course, our normal with the meme analysis and our astrology and all the things that we usually talk about in the spiritual perspectives. But first off, in the spiritual perspectives, we're going to start off with the From the Headline section. So there were 2 things from the headlines of the things that I already spoke about that I just want to speak on again while we're at it. So first off, let's go ahead and start back with this Kodak Black post. So this is my concern, or my I wouldn't even say a concern, but this is my commentary rather, about when he said this particular part, when he said even though he wanted a boy, because I just had a daughter in January, so he says, I was a little upset when the pink smoke came out. Now, I personally don't have any children, so people might not consider me qualified to speak on this, but be it that I'm a human being that can bear children, I think I'm very qualified to speak on this about people's desire in their children. I just want to pose a question. When people have children, and this is a spiritual thing for me, are you having the child for yourself, or are you having the child out of the aspect of basically it being a part of life and whatever the child can bring into the world? Now, I think that a lot of people have children based off of a lot of selfish and personal reasons. Like, I find that a lot of men want to have a little boy, and a lot of times it's a lot of toxic men I see that want boys, but why? So we can have more toxic men, so you can bring up another toxic male into the world with your genetic traits, and then it's so, and especially in this current society, and this is not my personal experience, but this is just what I see from my viewpoint. A lot of people, not everybody, but I would say it's at least about 50-50, with really any child, but it's 50-50 chance that your child is going to like you and 50-50 chance that they're not. So, but people put so much hope into what they're going to have, and then these men want boys. And then, a lot of people have this thing of, oh, I want a boy, I wanted this, I wanted that. I don't know. I think that whole thought process leads to a lot of issues that we have in society because, most people think that they own their children when in actuality they don't. Like, you're bearing a child that is going to be another being on this earth. That's just like, almost like when a dog or any animal has puppies, like them, and then as human beings, we'll take their children, the animal's children, but we won't give a dang about their natural instincts and their maternal instincts as mothers and all these other things. But when it comes to us, we want a boy and we want this and our child gonna be just like us and all this other type of stuff. I don't know, it's very a weird thing to me, and I question how our hopes and all these things that we put into the atmosphere, how it truly affects the child on a spiritual level. Like, I just think that's interesting. And then, so now you're saying you wish you had a boy, but you're having a girl, but just putting that in the universe is like almost like a resentment or like a disappointment for you not having what you thought you wanted. So imagine how that plays into that child's life. You know, I think people are very selfish when it comes to dealing with offspring, and they're very territorial and rely on having ownership. And a lot of that, in a lot of instances, I'm not saying all, but I would dare to say 50% of most instances, you're dealing with children that might not even like you when they get older. Children have killed their parents, all kinds of things, but, you know, you had all this. And then, you know, it's the girls, interestingly enough, and he says he did say he would love all his kids forever, and I'll give him that. But, you know, it's the girls that really hold families together. Like, you know, it's the girls that, you know, that really look after their fathers when they get old. It's not the sons, and not saying that all sons don't, but in general, it's the girls that keep up with their parents. So that's interesting that he would say that, you know, and have this thing for wanting a boy and all this stuff. So that's just interesting to me. And then, you know, of course, is the urban legend that, oh, like, a lot of men will end up having girls if they treat women wrong. You know, and their daughters will incur the karma of their fathers. So that's another interesting thing to just think about. You know, I can't say whether that's true or not. Has that played out in some people's lives? Sure. You know, but just an interesting thought that I just want to put out there in spiritual perspectives, because, you know, people are always talking about what they want. And to me, it's a very selfish viewpoint to have any kind of hope of a child, because, you know, having children is a part of life. You know, you know, and it's so sad because even like the state of California is trying to get parents to give up parenthood for equity. And, you know, even though that sounds crazy for a parent to give up parenthood, the majority of parents in this age, from my viewpoint, can barely raise their children. They barely understand them, whether they're boys or girls. So it's just like, you know, you might as well give your child away to the state. Not saying that you should or shouldn't, but interesting perspective for me. Like, you know, like I said, this is my opinion. People might not even think I'm qualified to speak on it because I don't have children. But to me, not having children doesn't mean you can't have an opinion on it, because I could one day have a child, and I'm not going to hope that it's either or. Like, you know, personally, like, you know, I'd be grateful for whoever comes out, man, woman, boy, girl, whatever. I'll be grateful for those things, just to be able to bear an offspring. That's enough for me. But if you want a boy, if you want a girl, whatever you want, more power to you. Good luck with all that. So, you know, as for me in my house, I will not lay any type of spiritual resignation on my child before they come into existence. Any type of hopes, any type of disappointments, or any type of regrets of anything, or wishing that it would be this or that. I will truly organically grow a human being, boy or girl. So that's just me. But you guys let me know what you all think about that in the comments. And moving on to our next topic on from the headlines perspectives. So I wasn't going to bring this back up, but I must bring it back up. Let's bring back up this whole President crack pipe. Crack pipe President Joe Biden giving out free crack pipes to the crackheads and the meth heads and the heroin heads. this is just so interesting to me, because to me, and the reason why I want to take a deeper look at this, you know, it was him and Hillary Clinton that was on this whole super predator thing, targeting our black youth back in the 90s, many of who were pushing these types of drugs, well, before meth really was that popular, but heroin and crack and coke and all these other types of things. And they was basically calling them thugs, criminals, Joe Biden. There's all kinds of videos from back in the day about them pushing this legislation. And now for it to be so far in the future and to now be endorsing this. So what does this mean? To me, there's a deeper meaning behind this. Why would our president want, I mean, I get, let people live how they want. I understand that. But knowing what meth and crack does to the body, what it does to the mind, how it literally fries your organs and decreases your quality of life, even though people should be free to do that if they want to, why is the government paying to endorse that? You know, I really don't understand. These substances are illegal still. And though people are addicted to them, they're still illegal. You know, I know these people watch Euphoria, and we're dealing with the drug epidemic amongst our youth and amongst a lot of people, like, you know, and quietly in a lot of communities, they don't want to talk about it, especially in the LGBTQ community. There is a meth epidemic that they won't talk about, and it's as much as high as the AIDS and HIV epidemic in that community. But nobody will talk about the meth addiction and the crack addiction and the drug addiction. Nobody will talk about these things. But, you know, they'll be like LGBTQ this, LGBTQ that. We need to have representation on TV. We need to have this, that, and the third, trans rights and all this stuff. What about the disparities of the people that are getting sick, you know, with HIV and AIDS, and the link between that and meth addiction and crack addiction? Who's talking about that? I've seen several, like, you know, people from that community go into drug use, and then they went into prostitution, into sex work, all kinds of deviant things just based off that. And a lot of times it started off with them having a diagnosis of HIV or AIDS. So, you know, this whole thing is just very interesting to me that they would push this. So what does that mean? Like, if people are caught with these substances, and they also have the crack pipes and the heroin needles and stuff that Joe Biden is handing out, are they going to be acquitted of this? Is this for them to try to catch more people doing it so they can give out more charges? I really don't understand it. I really think that this is very diabolical. And I personally feel, as I said earlier, that the money would have been better spent with the scammers, giving them PPPs and giving them unemployment, like, you know, than giving the people. And then let's not even talk about how the drug addiction epidemic that's going on coast to coast in the United States disproportionately affects homeless people. Homeless people are even homeless because all they do is spend their money on drugs. You know, and they're like, you know, last time I was walking downtown LA, I was so astonished, and I wasn't even on Skid Row. I was in the regular downtown part, and I just saw somebody with a crack pipe, or meth pipe rather, just right on the sidewalk in front of people just walking by, take a hit to the head, like, just, and I literally saw him go from not being high to being gone. And this is just interesting to me, you guys. I think this is very diabolical, and I think it's a very sinister plan behind this. I'm not sure how it will affect us, but this is the world, as he said in the video, this is the world that we live in now, you guys. So I guess it is what it is. So, you know, tell me what you guys' perspectives are of these things in the comments. All right, guys, moving right on along to our meme analysis in our spiritual perspective section. We're going to go ahead and take a look at some memes. And this week I have mostly quotes that have been circulating that I've seen be popular on social media. And these were the ones that resonated with me to share with you guys this week. So the first one comes from the Law of Attraction Facebook group. I've seen a lot of people circulating this one. This one has been getting very very popular. So this is also the title quote meme from the title slide, obviously the picture on the video for this week's episode. So this is what it says. Maturity is accepting that you may not get the answers or apologies for the things that hurt you. Heal anyway. Such a powerful statement. Maturity is accepting that you may not get answers or apologies for the things that hurt you. Heal anyway. You know, I've been listening to a few books, audio books. I've been reading some books and just contemplating on this aspect of victimhood. And, you know, we really live in a world that exacerbates and promotes victimhood. You know, and it makes it so hard to heal, you know, for a lot of people that especially follow trends or on a baseline consciousness or on the lower spectrum of consciousness, and not even lower, but on the more unaware spectrum of consciousness. They live in the state of victimhood. But this is an interesting quote because this is maturity, which people don't really understand what maturity is. And maturity has multiple aspects, obviously. But this is such a great aspect of maturity that most people don't really come to no matter how old they get or mature they're supposed to be. But this says maturity is accepting that you may not get all the answers or apologies for the things that hurt you. So many things have hurt us all. I know personally, so I've had to walk away from so many situations that had so many questions, so many ellipses, so many ... you know, so many open-ended things. And I haven't gotten any answers. I haven't gotten any apologies or even an afterthought, any kind of thought or any kind of commentary on these things. I've had adverse commentary with people that had no understandings of situations, that weren't even involved in situations that I was involved in, that might have only dealt with one-sided things. So I can definitely say from personal experience, I haven't gotten a lot of answers or apologies for things that may have hurt me. But I do choose to heal anyway. So because, as this quote says, maturity is accepting that you may not get answers or apologies for things that hurt you. I accept those things as though they are. And I choose to heal anyway and to not be a victim of my past or a victim of what people have done to me. I choose not to do that. I choose to live in the now and in the growth and in the prosperity of what the universe has to offer me, you guys. So I want to know what you guys think about this quote. Do you believe that it's maturity to accept things that you may not get answers or apologies for that hurt you? And are you committing to healing anyway? Let me know what you guys think about this quote meme in the comments. Next thing we have up is a quote. So this is actually a quote that I saw that it's been popularized on Facebook, and it comes from Faithful Sarah Spates. And she says, "Y'all mastered church and still ain't saved. Your shot is cute though." Now this is hilarious to me, like, you know, and when she says y'all master church, you know, what I take it that she means is the pomp and circumstance of it, the showing of it, the shout, the running around, the singing, the doing all the crazy Kiera Clark Sherritt runs. I love you, Kiera, if you're listening. But all the crazy Clark sisters runs and everything, and the praise team and running around and wearing the clothes and speaking to everybody and using it to pick up dates and everything. Y'all have mastered it. But you still ain't saved. You still aren't exuding that of Christ-like mentality or behaviors. But your shouty is cute though. You know, people, they go and they wear the cute outfits, they shout, they do the whole nine. So I think this is hilarious, you guys. And I think, in my perspective, this applies to most people that are in the church that I see nowadays, especially acquaintances and former friends and former associates of mine. I definitely can say that they definitely have mastered church. As far as being saved, that's still up for debate. But their shout is cute though. So, you guys, let me know what your experience has been with that. Do you agree with this quote from Faithful Sarah Spates? Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. And last but not least, another quote that I saw being circulated that's been getting pretty popular says this: "An unhealed person can find offense in pretty much anything someone does. A healed person understands that the actions of others had absolutely nothing to do with them. Each day you get to decide which one you will be. I should have put this after the first meme, you guys, because this one definitely goes with that. But let me read it again. An unhealed person can find offense in pretty much anything someone does. A healed person understands that the actions of others has absolutely nothing to do with them. Each day you get to decide what you will be. So, it's so many people walking around here in victimhood and that just aren't healed. And, I don't want to be a victim blamer because people's pain and their experience is real. My pain and my experience is real. I've been through very deep things that I've had to do a lot of healing from, that I'm still healing from. But guess what? I choose to be the other person. A healed person understands that the actions of others has nothing to do with them. I really know and understand that now. I used to take things so personal, the way people would treat me, the things that people would do. But then I realized that I can only be responsible for myself and my healing. People may react to me in certain ways, and I can't control their reaction. And a lot of times, I would say majority of the times, their reactions have nothing to do with me. People, I heard a quote from this audiobook I was hearing, is that ignorance is the only thing to blame. When I've done things, or when people didn't understand things that I did that basically hurt them, that was my ignorance that was the blame to that. So that falls on me for other people, and for them, it definitely, when people have hurt me and done things to me, I don't blame those people anymore. I choose to understand that it has nothing to do with me. And honestly, in a lot of aspects, doesn't have anything to do with them. It has to do with their level of ignorance. So, but at the same time, as this quote is saying, unhealed people can find offense in pretty much anything. I find that people want to sit around and discuss victimhood. They want to discuss, have these long, deep conversations about the psychology of why things are the way that they are, which I think for some people maybe that can be something that works for them. I don't really see how that's really effective though, because I think that it loops the thought of offense, especially for people that are on the more unaware spectrum of consciousness. It just keeps that offense going and keeps exacerbating the issues, instead of understanding that what happened to you often doesn't have nothing to do with you. No matter how traumatic and drastic it is, I know so many people that have gone through things that were far worse than I've ever gone through. And to see the beauty of what they've learned through it, there is another side. There is another route that you can take towards healing. And I've seen people nearly lose their lives. I've nearly lost my life in certain instances. People have all kinds of atrocious things happen to them, but still found a way to heal. They chose each day to decide to understand that the actions of others had nothing to do with them, and they learned and they grew to heal themselves. So what do you guys think? I definitely think unhealed people can find offense in pretty much anything that someone does. And I try not to be that way personally. And I understand that how people are, I accept them fully and wholly for who and what they are. And I understand that their actions have nothing to do with me. So I simply choose not to be offended by things that people do. So, it's a struggle. I'm not going to say that it works the same way every day and every time, but it's something that I choose to do. And I decide that every day, as opposed to living and feeling offended all the time. So that's just me personally. But I want to know what you guys think about all these memes. Well, about this one particularly too. Do you believe an unhealed person can find offense in everything? And do you believe a healed person understands that the actions of others have nothing to do with them? Who are you deciding to be? Let me know what you guys think about all these quotes and this one in particular in the comments. And we'll go ahead and move on to our next section. All right, moving right on along to our next section in spiritual perspectives. We're going to go ahead and get into our astrology section. Let's take a look to see what the planets are doing over top of our heads, above our heads. What's going on in the heavens? So we are still in Pisces season. Happy birthday to all my Pisces. And as you can see on the zodiac wheel, a lot of our energies are collecting. On one side of the wheel, we're between Capricorn and Taurus. So we're dealing with Taurian energy, Aries energy, Pisces, Aquarius, and Capricorn energy. So we're kind of one-sided on the wheel right now. We're not kind of all over the place like we can be sometimes. So let's take a look at the alignment of the stars and see what's going on. Of course, the sun is still in Pisces, so I talked a lot about Pisces energy last week and what the sun brings with the Pisces energy. So take a look on the astrology section for last episode. Just go in the description and click astrology. I talked a lot about the sun being in Pisces. So the moon right now is in Capricorn. So remember, the moon is how you express your purpose in everyday activities through your emotions, your attitudes, your habits, and your general moods. How you adapt to the environment around you. It's your mothering energy. It's your undercurrent. It's your subconscious. So right now, we've been having a lot of Capricorn energy going on since Capricorn season. And you know, we've talked about this at one point. Mercury, Venus, and Mars were in Capricorn. But right now, just Venus and Mars are in Capricorn right now. But the moon is also in Capricorn. So it's affecting a lot of our undercurrent. A lot of us are being very conservative right now, just when it comes to our emotional output and just what we've been thinking. We've been being realistic and responsible, almost a little bit rigid, so we have to balance that out. But it's kind of a good thing to balance out the sun in Pisces, because Pisces can have you very imaginative and very impressionable. So it's good right now to balance out that Pisces sun energy with the moon being in Capricorn. Is kind of pulling that energy back that's coming to the planet, that's coming to us. It's also pulling back that Neptune and Pisces energy, which we've talked about for the past few weeks, and the Jupiter and Pisces energy, because, you know, just us knowing or feeling that in our undercurrent is kind of helping us not be too humble when we don't need to be, or too influenced by other people right now, as we can be with a lot of Piscean energy. So we're actually dealing with a lot of Piscean and Capricorn energy right now. So it's a pretty good balance. We're being creative like a Pisces with all the Pisces energy going on, but we're not being too out there, because in our undercurrent, we're focusing still on just being a little bit more straightforward with our Capricorn energy, a little more realistic. Just try not to be in a pessimistic mood. You got to balance that out with more Piscean energy. Try not to be too frustrated in your undercurrent or miserly. You know, try not to do that, or to be too much alone, because now, you know, you're going to feel a lot of that energy with a lot of the Capricorn energy we have going on. But try to balance that out with the Piscean energy. But what's interesting now that if we keep moving, Mercury is in Aquarius. So, you know, it's funny because Aquarius has the dichotomy of being very altruistic and friendly and all for one, but also at the same time kind of having the same kind of energy as the Capricorn, with wanting to be alone or feeling like above everything sometimes. So, you know, with that, you know, this is kind of a week and a time right now. The moon moves a little bit quicker, but this is a time right now for us to focus on our vision. And it's going to lead to a lot of alone time, a lot of creativity with the Pisces energy going on. Mercury is also kind of helping us communicate in a certain way. It's keeping us altruistic, but it might be having us looking a little bit odd and a little bit eccentric to most people, the way we're communicating. Sometimes it might be coming off right now as impersonal, with Mercury being in Aquarius. So the way we're communicating can be interesting, but it still is intellectual at the same time. It still is very inventive and very humanitarian-like and friendly right now. So we just have to be mindful of the Aquarian energy, because we have a lot of this, you know, kind of loner energy going on right now with all the Capricorn energy going on right now. So try not to be too out there with the Mercury and Aquarius energy. Also, with Saturn being in Aquarius, which we'll talk about, which I've been talking about because Saturn's been in Aquarius right now, we're seeing a lot of our life cycles and understanding a lot of it. And we're also trying to change to be more logical when it comes to our life cycles and the things that we constantly, our life lessons and the things that we continuously go through, we're seeing these things. So we're trying to be more logical and we're trying to speak more logical, but sometimes that can come off a little weird with the Aquarian energy going on. So be mindful of the way you're communicating. Be mindful of your conscious mind and basically how you assimilate things and the way you reason in your relationships. Just be mindful of that with the Aquarian energy. Venus and Mars are still in Capricorn, so in our love energy and our ability to manifest things and our aggressive tendencies, we're still in the Capricorn energy. I talked a lot about that last week, so definitely I've talked about that for the past few weeks, so definitely go back to some of the previous episodes and see what's going on as far as Venus being in Capricorn and Mars being in Capricorn. Also, when it comes to the external planets, our very slow moving planets, they've kind of been in the same position too as they have been. I've spoke about these other, our outer planets, Jupiter in Pisces, Saturn in Aquarius, Uranus in Taurus, Neptune in Pisces, and Pluto in Capricorn. I've talked a lot about them in the past few weeks and the energy that we're experiencing. So go ahead and take a listen to what I've been saying about the outer planets and their positioning. They're going to be like that for a while, you know, for a few weeks to a few months, depending on the planet. But the biggest change this week, of course, we moved into Pisces season with the sun. And of course, the moon and Mercury have moved, being two of the quicker moving planets. And of course, Venus and Mars, you know, they're moving a little slow, but they'll be moving a little bit quickly too, coming in the near future. So a lot of this we've discussed. A lot of this is still what it is. So take a listen to, you know, go in the description section of all the past episodes and just take a look at how the planets have been moving and how they've been shifting around right now and the energy that's coming from them with them in their certain positions. And very soon we'll probably start doing this on Station Head. We'll get into the planetary aspects and their relations to the other planets, and you know, whether they're sextile, whether they're conjunct, whether they're square, or whatever their angles are to the other planets. We'll get way more into that. They can be trine, they can be in conjunct, they can be in opposition. So that's one thing we're going to start talking about when we start talking about astrology on Station Head. So stay tuned, you guys. Definitely go back to the previous episodes, listen to the astrology section so you can get some insight on how the planetary energy is contributing to what's going on right now here on Earth and why things are moving the way they're moving, be it celebrity news, be it, you know, what's going on in the world right now. A lot of people are in their feeling and ready to take some movement, take some actions right now with this Mars and Capricorn energy and this the sun is in Pisces. So keep all these things in mind, guys, as we move forward into the next week. Take a listen and let me know what you guys think and what you all are feeling based upon the planetary moves in the comments. Oh, and one more thing too about what's going on astrology wise, I almost forgot, is about the moon phases, you guys. For all those who are planning on doing things based around the moon movement and the energy that the moon gives to us, we are in our waning phase. It's almost time for a new moon. A new moon is about to come up. So this is the time for a lot of healing rituals, rejuvenation rituals, resting rituals, relinquishing and releasing rituals. So we're in our last quarter moon. Our waning crescent moon is about to come up in the next few days, going over into our new moon, which will be around the 2nd of March. So keep that in mind as you're planning to work with the energy of the moon. For all those who do work with the energy of the moon, that's coming up. We're waning right now and we're using that energy to enhance our healing, to enhance our releasing, and we're going forward and we're doing likewise. So let me know what you guys think about all these things when it comes to our astrology and even our moon cycle here in the comments. And finally, we have gotten down to our energy reading section for the day. We will definitely be getting an energy reading from the cards for Inner Ascension created by my soul sister, Sunny Patterson. If you are interested in this deck of cards, please follow the link in the description and order your deck of cards from my sister anytime you're ready. But we're definitely going to take a look now and see what the spirit guides have for us for this upcoming week, what energy the universe is bringing to us for us to focus on and to use as our mantra affirmation for the next week. So let's go ahead and draw a card here, and what we have is, my intuition never steers me wrong. My intuition never steers me wrong. So what the spirit guides are saying to me through this is that it's some people that have a very strong intuitive sense on a specific project or a specific energy that's been building around them for a long time. This can be something that you're trying to release, or it could be the relinquishing of an energy, a relationship, or something of that nature. So now is not the time to question your intuition, especially when you're focused on your highest purpose and your greatest good in this lifetime. When you know you've truly been focusing on your highest gifts, your highest purpose, what's meant for you in this life, you have to know right now specifically that my intuition never steers me wrong. People will often try to second guess you. They'll try to make you doubt your intuition. They'll try to manipulate and persuade you to think otherwise. Some people will, as they say, gaslight you into making you feel silly or foolish for the things that you're thinking. And some people also are narcissistic, so they'll try to persuade you in any way that they can, any myriad of those things that I said, to try to get you to second guess what your intuition is telling you. But your intuition, which is the deepest part of your spirit, which is just that feeling in the back of your mind, you always know your intuition from just a conscious thought, because it's always something that brings you to the thought of where your life's purpose is or what you ought to be doing. Like when you know that there are things that are questionable. Sometimes we go through things in life that, we're being adventurous, we're doing different things. But when you really know that it's something that, it's very questionable, when you think about it, you begin to start thinking about other things and what direction you're going in, and it's not in alignment. That's your intuition speaking. So you have to remember that right now, that your intuition never steers you wrong. That is the mantra and affirmation for this next week. So when it comes to your projects, when it comes to the energy that you're building or energy that you know you must release, remember for this week that my intuition never steers me wrong. That's your mantra. That's your affirmation. Take that affirmation, say it to yourself. As an affirmation, say it to yourself 3 times. Looking at yourself, for 3 minutes straight. Say it to yourself for 3 minutes straight. Just repeat it over and over again for 3 minutes straight. Looking at yourself in the mirror. Set a timer on your phone for 3 minutes. And say this to yourself, looking in the mirror. My intuition never steers me wrong. And remember this and do likewise for the next week. Boy, you guys, this one has been a doozy. We've definitely talked about a lot of stuff. We've gone around the world. We've seen a lot of things. We talked about the latest celebrity news, you guys. It's a lot happening in the world right now. So I'm praying that you guys all keep your head when all about you is losing theirs and blaming it on you. Keep your head. Keep your head up and keep yourself strong with everything that's going on in the world right now. You guys, I know I surely am. It's a lot going on. A lot of people are in their feelings. A lot of things are coming to the light. A lot of things are surfacing, coming out of this Aquarius time into the light of Pisces. We're seeing a lot of things for what they are. We're seeing it's just a lot, you guys. So, I'm just praying for each and every one of you that, things will definitely turn out in your favor with all of the things that you're trying to achieve in your life for your most positively polarized purpose in this world. I'm praying that you all stay on track, that you're doing all the things that you need to do. And, I'm just hoping the best for everybody. So, just keep all these things in mind, you guys. I hope that you guys have a productive week coming up, before we get to the next episode. So just remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and ring the bell for post notifications so you can stay in touch and stay up to date with everything going on over here at Oba Omi Says. Schedule your year reading with me. I'll go to any of my social medias, go down to any of my links in the description and find a way to reach out to me, my email, my website. all those things. Figure out the way. You'll figure it out. It's all in the description. There's plenty of ways to get in touch with me if you would like to schedule your year reading. Also, don't forget, Station Head is coming very soon. And also, I'm about to start having guests, you guys. So we're about to start having some guests on the show. So just keep all those things in mind. And don't forget about chapters in the description. You know, all those different things. And just stay up, stay positive, stay encouraged through all that's going on in the world. Stay up and really keep moving forward. You know, keep moving more and more forward and just continue to just go and just elevate, evolve, be the highest version of yourself that you can be, you guys. So, with all that being said, until next time, you guys, Oba Omi, over and out.